Got fights breaking out everywhere on Facebook, people all angry in the streets, screaming, protests going on like crazy. We are in an angry time. And I think we're all getting a little used to seeing violence and anger and aggression all over our social media platforms, all over our news media, and obviously in stuff like entertainment and reality TV getting out of control. So we're getting used to an aggressive side of people. Like, we're with it. We kind of settled into, okay, that's what 2015 is going to be. You have a lot of angry people, a lot of people who want to voice their opinions. And okay, I get it. It's no longer the 90s, which were such a fabulous decade. If you were able to enjoy it, can I get an amen? If you were too young, then let me apologize to you now, because that whole decade was gold. Like, the music, the entertainment. I mean, look at Mickey. He agrees, right? Like, the 90s, that's where it's at. Britney Spears on the radio. You don't even have to like Britney Spears, but it just felt good, you know? You had that grunge period coming out of Seattle. You had good alternative, angsty music for the teenager 20-something who just struggling. It was an amazing period. I wish we could go back, but we can't. Alright, we can't. And I get that. But I wanted to make a video for those fights that go off the rails. I'm talking like the verbal beatdowns, okay? I'm talking like not stupid little arguments that you might run into with a stranger or a teacher or person of authority or whatever throughout the day. But I'm talking about those blow-ups, those off-the-rail, come-to-Jesus meeting, you're going to walk funny for 2 days because I just gave you a verbal beat down kind of arguments. Those ones where you're going toe to toe. Like, those are the arguments I wanted to make a video about because I was able to have one with my boyfriend today, and it just really, really sucks. So I wanted to make a video about it and kind of my thoughts at where I am now in my life and an argument with somebody I love versus where I was maybe 5 or 10 years ago. And also, I'm not just talking about fights you have with a significant other, because we've all been there, but also maybe fights you've had with family or best friends or complete strangers, but it's online and gets super heated. Those are the arguments I'm talking about, the ones where you're really passionate about the subject and you feel like you're not being heard. And I think that is the main problem. When we argue, we aren't listening. At least that's my problem. I am really, really quick-tempered. I go 0 to 60 in under a second. It does not take me long. The smallest thing can flip me, and I used to be way worse. I don't know where this came from. I know my mom has a huge temper, and also she had to act as both parents, raising me as a single mom, so I think that brings out the more masculine side of a mom sometimes when she has to take that authoritarian role. So I grew up with a very direct and assertive parental guidance, which, in all honesty, I think was really healthy for me. It helped keep me on track, and I had a great bond with my mom, all respect and love to her, but there were times where her and I came to blows, and I think when you get two personalities, I'm an Aquarius, and I know for us, we are very blunt and outspoken, and I am a die-hard Aquarian, for sure. Like, that is definitely my star sign. But I think with those arguments, I'm also learning a lot as I get older as well. I have learned a lot from some of the fights that I have been in, and some of these fights really shake you to your core. Sometimes it comes from people you love and feel like help make you who you are, and when they question your ideals or when they come at you with a different perspective, and it gets you real defensive, it's real easy to fly off quick and put them down and use that ego that's building up inside of you to defend yourself. Meanwhile, you're making the ones that love you feel like shit. I experienced this today with my boyfriend. We got in an argument over a miscommunication, and I think we could both see it happening within the argument, but it doesn't take either of us very long to escalate. So it heated, and we get super angry. And sometimes we're really good at both controlling it, and that's when we have really meaningful conversation after our argument and we really get somewhere and have a breakthrough. Other times, we just both get in a screaming match and doors get slammed and someone leaves and it's bullshit and nobody learns. That's never the way you want an argument to end, because you need to engage the other party to be heard and also to hear them. And that's the most important part. If you're gonna start off an argument, if you're going to dive in and commit that much of your own energy to communicating with somebody your point of view, then at least see it through, right? You don't want to leave it halfway in the middle when nobody understands each other. You want to get it to the finish line. So my main observation that I've learned with myself is the only fights that I really take to heart, that I really learn something from, are the ones where you battle it out till the end and both sides are heard, and you have that kind of wave of relief over yourself after the argument's finished. You kind of feel like, okay, we did something. Like there was a breakthrough here. Those fights, I think, are necessary for any relationship, whether it's dating or family, friends. I think in order to make it through the long haul, you need to go through some down and dirties, right? You need to drag each other through the mud and see if you can withstand the test of time, right? People have their ups and downs. You're gonna disagree. Nobody agrees 100% all the time, and that's very okay. That's awesome. That's part of being human and working with each other and understanding each other. And I think learning these things for myself, it's just made it easier to control my temper. And for me, that's a really big deal. I would never consider becoming a parent until I'm able to control my temper. And that's my biggest hurdle. I have a really hard time doing that. I've grown a lot, especially within the last couple years. Ever since 2012, I feel like I've made a big shift, and it's only getting better every day. I never used to reflect and think about an argument that I used to have like this. I was just used to collecting bodies and going. Like, I had a mouth on me. When you grow up as a short boy, you're used to having to have a quick wit, because that gets you out of things, that makes it so bullies can't pick on you. You know, it becomes a defense mechanism. But then you forget that you can turn that off when you're speaking to people you love. And I think that's one of my biggest struggles through my life, is being okay with varying perspectives coming at me and not taking them as attacks, but learning experiences. And I feel like within seeing this and seeing it in myself and how I act in arguments, I am able to have more control. And I kind of just wanted to make a video expressing that and some of the things that I've been doing or learning that have really been helpful tools. Because if there's anyone out there with a temper like mine, oof, you know it gets you in some hot water, right? A little bit. It also gets you out of some hot water, okay? But it does get you in it, too, right? Kinda. So with these arguments, when you're getting super heated, if it is someone you care about on the other end, it is always so important to remember that you're on the same team. Inevitably, you are trying to reach the same conclusion. For instance, when you're fighting with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, when you're having those arguments, realize you are on the same team. It is one team trying to reach a common goal, and you're each coming at it from two different viewpoints. You each have two different game plans. Same with parents, same with friends, same with siblings. All of these things, you're on the same team. It's usually never a divided situation. However, these arguments can create divisions themselves. So that's something you have to be aware of. The main thing we all need to realize is that these arguments can escalate so quickly, especially within the culture we're living right now. It's a very heated time right now. I mean, scientists have linked global warming to causing our moods to elevate more towards anger. Also, our food supply is being injected with tons of hormones and GMO products. We don't know, and not enough studies have been done to even see what these can do to the human body and the brain, and how that might affect our way of being, our personalities, our aggression. I think we are becoming an angrier people. It seems very apparent that we all are more easily triggered to be angry. Everywhere you go, somebody's upset about something, somebody's offended by something, the whole world is supposed to be bandaged. Like, it's kind of getting ridiculous that we need to coddle everybody. But that's a whole nother video. Basically, all I'm trying to say is, yes, fights can escalate super quickly. However, if you can realize while you're in the moment to stay calm and take those deep breaths, and then really think about, is this argument that I'm putting forward, is this energy that I'm expelling and putting into the universe something I stand by? Is it my truth? Because honestly, if you're not even agreeing with your stance, if you're just being loud and broad and rowdy just to create a scene or to affect somebody, to hurt somebody, to put somebody down because you're hurt, if you're doing those, you're just putting negative energy out into the world. And that's not what you want to do because it does come back to you. What you want to do is really stand with your convictions. If you are in an argument and you are trying to get your point of view across, but an argument's ensuing because the other person's not hearing you or because you're not hearing the other person, that's okay. You can still communicate your way through that. But the moment all you do is start getting defensive and throwing people in the mud or putting people down, you're done. You hit a wall. You're no longer in control of your thoughts. That's your ego taking over. You need to be able to control that. Take some breaths and think to yourself, am I angry? Am I hurt by this? Am I affected by this? Or am I losing control of my emotions? That's a thought that really will take time to reset your brain and make you figure out, is this something I'm going to continue yelling about? There have been hundreds of fights that I've gotten in where I think to myself, is this something I stand by? And I don't. And then I let go. There will be times where it's hard, where you're like, oh shit, in your own head, you're like, okay, I'm screwing up. I'm creating a situation where there isn't one. And I've been in situations where it's too hard for me to bite my lip. I think where I'm really proud of myself now, as of lately, is I've been trying to call myself out on those situations more and more. I've been trying to push myself to limits that I'm not used to going to, and being more honest with people on the outside and with myself. Being okay saying, you know what, I don't stand for that, and I want to voice otherwise. Because I've always felt that I've been the kind of person who thinks in my head, I know that ain't right. And I'll always say something. But it's hard to admit when you're wrong. And that's the thing that people need to be okay with. Because being wrong is totally fine. You learn from the wrong. You learn when you screw up and make mistakes. Because that's the moment your consciousness is telling you, hey, this was an opportunity to learn. Fix it. Because that's a good thing. When you're right in an argument, cool, it's good to be right. It's fun to get your point of view across, and hopefully you're doing it in a way that's going to help others learn. Because, in all honesty, that's what this is all about. We're all arguing to make each other better. We really just want the same goal. We want everybody to treat each other the way we want to be treated. We want everybody to give respect. And we want everybody to kind of back the fuck off. Let's let each other do things, right? Let's have creativity flowing. Don't always shut people up. Let people talk. Let people get their point of view across. If it differs from yours, hey, if you're having an online squabble, which we've all been there, maybe sometimes walk away from the computer for 5 minutes. Do you really feel the way you're feeling going and attacking somebody? I know there's been times where I get so heated I almost take it personally, and it's a complete stranger out there in the interwebs trying to put me down, but you can't take those personally. That's just somebody who's been affected, relating to you, and projecting how they feel about themselves in that scenario onto you. I mean, that's all this really is. We just need to figure out what we're doing inside before we engage others. And I think if we start doing that more with ourselves and start talking more about how we can do this and how we can reach better communication plateaus with each other, I think we're going to get to really cool places. I know going forward, I really want to surround myself with thoughtful people who have intelligent conversation, don't put each other down, but are okay with a verbal ass whooping now and then. It's okay to not censor yourself. It's okay to say curse words. It's okay to use profanity. It's okay to be vulgar. That's not always a bad thing. Sometimes shock and awe really brings people into a conversation who normally wouldn't have joined, and that can be a good thing. So think about that. Many thoughts to be had within this conversation, and I didn't cover them all. So if you have more, please contribute. Add anything you want to the conversation. Let me know if you've been in some of those heated arguments, your stance, what you do to better yourself and move forward, and if you were able to work it out with the other person, because those are the learning moments, and that's always cool. But anyway, hope you're having a great Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.